You're behind the scenes with Sacred Harmony. I'm Janet, here with Brian and Theresa, and today we have a special guest, Paul Belcher, who is one of the most recognized names in concert promotion. We're going to have a great time. Let's get started.
Behind the scenes, there's an unseen head. He knows just what he's doing when he's working his plan. Even when it seems like there's no way out, God is up to something you can shout about.
From the moment that I called his name, Jesus took my sins away. I knew I'd found what I was looking for. The word he gave has proven true. In every trial that I've walked through, I've learned I can depend upon the Lord. Holding to the promises he made. Every day he gives, I walk by faith. Then in his presence there at last, till it all shall come to pass, I'll trust in him and walk on unafraid, holding to the promises he made. He promised me unfailing love and said his grace would be enough when life is almost more than I can bear. Sometimes when I think about the joy ahead, I want to shout. It keeps me holding on till I get there. Promises he made. Every day he gives, I walk by faith. Then in his presence there at last, until it all shall come to pass, I'll trust in him and walk on unafraid, holding to the promises he made. And for all those I have loved and lost down here, I love the promise I will see them. See them there. Now I'm standing on the promises of God, my Savior. Standing on the promises of God. Lord, I am standing on the promises of God, my Savior. Standing on the promises of God. Holding to the promises, holding to the promises, holding to the promises he made.
We are not typically known for country or bluegrass, but every now and then a song comes our way that we just love, like this one.
Yes.
Higher is what this song is called.
This world is not my home. This world is not my home. I'm just passing through, won't be here for long. This world is not my home. Nothing can hold me here. Nothing can hold me here. Not the riches of this earth or the treasures I hold dear. Nothing can hold me here. I'm going higher, higher. I'm going higher, moving on to heaven's shore, higher with my Lord. I'll join the angel band. I'll join the angel band. I'll sing a victory song over in that land. I'll join the angel band. We'll worship at his feet. Yeah, we'll worship at his feet. Laying down our crowns there before his feet. We'll worship at his feet. We're going higher, higher. We're going
Welcome back to Sacred Harmonies Behind the Scenes. And we're here today with our friend and guest, Paul Belcher, who is in concert promotion. We're so glad to have you here, Paul.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you.
Oh, we really
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it. We'd love for you to tell us a little bit about your history.
Well, about our history. We started promoting in 1972. Mom and Dad moved to Michigan in the 50s to get work, and they had some friends down here that sang the weekend warriors. You know, you would call them. They'd go out on weekends and sing and then go back to their jobs during the week. Well, they started booking groups up in Michigan, and I was 17 at the time, and somebody came to me and said, Paul, as much as you like gospel music, you need to have a concert. So we called Claude Hopper of the Hoppers, and we booked them, and we had another group called the Hymnals. That's where we started. That was our very first concert. The Hoppers and Connie drove all the way to Michigan for me. We had a good concert. The tickets were $2.
Wow.
If you bought them at the door, they were $2.50.
What year was that again?
73. And when I went out to the bus to introduce myself to Claude Hopper, he looked at me and he said, land sakes, I drove 800 miles for a 17-year-old kid. But we've had a great relationship, Claude and I. 52 years now we've worked with them. But it went on from there. We started booking groups like the Dixie Melody Boys. We brought them to Detroit the first time. The Inspirations, we were the first one to bring the Inspirations to Michigan. We booked a lot of groups, the Happy Goodmans, the Blackwoods, the Statesmen. But we booked a lot of groups in Michigan. We go back 52 years, and not many of your viewing audience will remember, but back in those days, the major promoters were J.G. Whitfield,
Okay.
Lloyd Orrell from Michigan,
Okay.
W.B. Nallen from Fort Worth, and Preacher Mull from the Knoxville area.
Okay.
We're the only promoter that's still promoting that promoted in the same era as those fellas did. But now you got newer promoters out there, and but that's our history. We've been doing it now for 52 years. Back in the 80s and 90s, we were booking 50 dates a year out west. We were gone every weekend promoting a concert someplace. But God has been good to us with it, you know. Have we done well with it? Sometimes, and sometimes we haven't. But we are so proud to be in gospel music. Southern gospel music is our life right now, you know. But I enjoy being with y'all singing. Y'all sing. Y'all do a great job, and I want the folks listening and watching, book y'all.
Yeah.
Bring them to your church. Bring them to your church.
You heard it here, folks.
Yes.
Right. We had the endorsement.
Yes.
Yes. Well, you know, people go to concerts, right? You just, as a concert goer, you know, I just get my ticket and I find my seat and I sit down and I'm just there to watch the show.
Exactly.
Not understanding what all goes on literally behind the scenes to bring a concert to a particular venue or to a particular hometown. Can you share with us what goes into actually promoting and what that means?
Okay, I get a lot of calls from young promoters, and they'll say, Mr. Belcher, can you give me some advice on what to do to promote a concert? The first thing I tell them is book with your head and not with your heart.
Okay.
Okay? There's a lot of groups that I like. I listen to them in my truck driving down the road. But you have to book the groups that's going to bring people into the auditorium because you have bills to pay. So the first thing you got to do is you got to find an auditorium that you want to use, and then you call the artist and try to get the artist you want together. We put some artists together that we like, that are good packages. And then, once you get your auditorium, once you get your talent lined up, then the advertising starts. That's where TV, radio, email, mailing list, newspaper, all comes into play. You have to get the word out. You cannot get up at your church on Wednesday night at prayer meeting and say, we're having a singing this coming Saturday.
Y'all come, right?
Y'all come. You've got to get the word out. We try to promote within a 100 to 150 mile radius of the market. okay? You have to get your tickets on sale. You have to have your ticket outlets. But you got to get you got to have advertising. That's the main thing. And then you just sit back and watch and see what happens.
How do you go about choosing a venue? Do you look at the area, or how do you do that?
Yeah, you look at the area. You look and see if there's any kind of media outlet, like a radio,
Right.
TV, something you can utilize for your promotion. You try to be careful too, because you don't want to. Another promoter might be booked in that area too, and you don't want to be going into a market having two promoters in the same market. Okay.
Has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah, lots of times. Yeah.
So y'all don't talk then to see who's booking where.
We try to work together sometimes,
That's good.
sometimes it don't happen, you know. So
That's good.
best thing to do is just not even book a city that somebody else is already promoting, you know, and just stay out of that town. And right now, I don't know of an area that is being done that way. You know, we do Chattanooga and Knoxville and Rome and Ashland and Charleston and Maryville, and then there's other promoters that does other markets, you know. And they do their own, and we try to work together, you know. So, but gospel music has been fantastic. You know, young people enjoy it. If you can get them there, they're hooked on it.
That's
You know,
That's true.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because you know
Yes.
there's a lot of talk about, you know, the future of gospel music,
yeah.
and when that particular generation dies off, what will happen, and I guess there's some legitimate concern about that. However, wherever we go, you know, we'll plug into a 30 and under crowd. It's amazing, just what you just said. They will come. They're the ones that come to our table and will buy the music. They like all of it, but they like the gospel music that they didn't realize that they would like. They thought
will
it.
tell us that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They think that it's, you know, it's Papa's music or Grandma's music, but when they actually hear some of it today, they really, really like it. I had a young person come up a few years ago to me and said, I really like that new song. This wasn't Sacred Harmony. It was actually at church that I happened to attend. And they said, I really love that new worship song that we sang today in church. And I said, oh yeah, well, what was it? Turn your eyes upon Jesus.
Really?
And I said, that's exactly what I said.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So
Really?
you like that new song? Yeah, love it. And he said, you know, the lyrics in it was really good. I really felt myself worshiping. And I said, you know, that's an old song. That's a hymn. And so when they hear it, they love the gospel music because I think gospel music, more than contemporary, more than praise and worship, in my opinion, really counsels and really teaches about Jesus and who He is. And so we're always amazed at the under 30 crowd that
I love gospel music that you can understand the words to.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, anything else, it loses me.
Yeah.
One more thing about promoting, you got to have a spouse that stands behind you. And Helen has stood behind me now 47 of the 52 years, and she's been a dandy, and I'm glad to have her on board with
Definitely.
me.
Yeah.
Now, how did you and
Definitely.
Helen meet? I want to know. I love
In the nursery at
I love
church.
personal stories.
The nursery?
The
Nursery
nursery
at church.
Did you like rocker?
Yeah, really, no. That's how long we've known it. No.
Okay.
Her mother and dad booked gospel groups also in Michigan.
Oh.
And they had a singing at their home church. And I went there that night, and she was sitting there. And I made my way over to her. And that's how we met. That's how we met. We met at a singing. Matter of fact, when we got married, we had a concert that night. We had two groups come in. We had the Scenic Land Boys, and we had the Gospel Harmony Boys sing at our reception.
Oh, cool.
Because everybody that came to the reception
great.
loved gospel music.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
we
so
weren't dancers or nothing like that, you know,
Yeah.
but this is what the people enjoyed. So we booked two groups and brought them in for our reception.
Great.
But she's been behind me now 47 years.
That's awesome.
She's had to share you with this industry and all these other artists. And
Well, yeah, but when it's in the evenings, it's her and me.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
You know, when the concert's over, it's me and her.
yeah.
That's great.
And there's been many a times that we've had to go to Crystal's on the way home instead of Steak and Shake. You know?
Well, you know, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you this story. We were in Little Rock. I don't know if I've got enough time. But
Go right ahead.
We were in Little Rock, Arkansas. And, this is back in the 90s. And the Florida Boys was on the program. Les Beasley and Daryl and Glenn, all of them. My son was 2 years old. Had to be 38 years ago because he just turned 40. And I was out on stage making an announcement, telling people about the next singing. And I was watching, and the people were going, they were looking, and they were turning their heads. You know, they were looking over towards the curtains.
Okay.
And I kept looking, seeing what's going on here, you know? They weren't listening to me. I looked over, and there was Les Beasley and Daryl Stewart. They had my 2-year-old son, and they were coaxing him out on the stage. And he was just looking around. He went over to the piano, and he climbed up on the piano bench. And I looked over at Les, and he was just roaring. He was just giggling and laughing and pointing. And there's my son. He crawled up on the piano, 2 years old, and got into the microphone. And he goes, hamburger. And he's just all, of course, Glenn and Les come unglued. I mean, it was funny. But, that was in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Did anybody get any video of that? Whereas
Probably
today,
not.
as a 40-year-old, he can look back and see.
I wish they could have, but
Oh, my goodness.
so many things have happened. But God has been good. I've got one more story I'll tell you about because this one hits home. We had a concert in Chattanooga, and a lady came by herself every concert. She bought one ticket. Her husband was unsaved. He wouldn't go to church, nothing. He wouldn't have nothing to do with preaching, gospel music, nothing. She called me one day and said, I got one ticket. Said, can I get one more ticket for this concert in Chattanooga? I said, yeah, Joyce, I've got a seat right next to you. She said, my husband wants to come.
Great.
So we had Ernie Dawson, an airline, was singing, and her husband came and they sat there. She called, this was on a Saturday night, she called me on Tuesday, and Wednesday, she called me on Wednesday, and she said, my husband talked about nothing about, everything was about the gospel singing all the way home. Said he cried, went home. She got up to go to church the next morning. He got up and went with her.
Oh.
He accepted Jesus that morning at church.
That's it.
She called me on Wednesday to tell me all this because he died on Tuesday.
No.
Yes. So that story right there is very important to me. That happened in Chattanooga. And so you never know who's in the audience. You never know. And I tell these young promoters, you never know what's going to happen at one of your singings. People will come to a gospel concert when they won't go to a church.
Yes.
Exactly.
And when they hear groups like you, and it's pleasing and good to their ears, they will come back again when they won't go to a church. And you never know whose heart you're touching.
Absolutely.
You know, so,
Ministry happens in the most peculiar of ways,
Yes,
doesn't it? And,
yes.
and people are, God can use anything that we're doing. Whatever He calls us to do, He's going to bless. We may not always see it, but just like that.
it's like this TV station here at WATC. The ministry they have, they never know who they're touching.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, one person could be sitting in a hotel room
Yes.
and flip on this station, and you never know what's going to be said that will touch their heart.
That's it. So we just got to show up and do what we do,
Yeah,
and,
yeah, we
and
just
try
gotta
not
keep
to get
going.
discouraged with it.
There's still work to do.
There's still work to do.
We got to keep going.
Yes. Paul, thank you for being on our show today. We've so appreciated getting to know you and letting our audience get to know you. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more Behind the Scenes with Sacred Harmony. Welcome back, everybody. Man, I could have talked to Paul a lot more. I had a lot more questions, didn't you? Those are some great stories.
Definitely.
Thank you for being with us today. It's been a pleasure. If you want more information on Sacred Harmony, you can go to sacredharmony1.com. Check us out on all the social media, and I think we have Paul Belcher's email address up somewhere on the screen after the show. Please be sure to go check him out as well. We're going to sing one last song, I Am Redeemed. This is from one of our favorite songwriters, Writersville Cross.
I was a slave in a foreign land, so very far from the Father's loving hand.
He rescued me one glorious day.
He brought me out, paid a debt I could not pay. I am redeemed. I am redeemed. Jesus loosed the chains of sin and set me free. I am redeemed. I am redeemed. Jesus loosed the chains of sin and set me free.
Still I live in a foreign land, but now I'm free according to redemption's plan. Soon I'll join the robed in white, the redeemed will sing a song holy angels cannot sing.
I am redeemed. I am redeemed. Jesus loosed the chains of sin and set me free. I am redeemed. I am redeemed. Jesus loosed the chains of sin and set me free.
Some glorious morning they will come from all nations, from every generation. Side by side they will march into the celestial city of Jehovah. And in perfect harmony they will begin humming a new song, a song composed by God, arranged for his children. As the saved by grace approach the land of their dreams, the host of heaven will step aside. Even the angels will be silent, for they cannot sing this new song. For it is a song reserved for voices who once cried out for the Redeemer, those washed in the blood of the Lamb. Praise God, I'm one of those.
I am redeemed by love divine. Glory, glory, Christ is mine. He's mine, all to him I now resign. Jesus loosed the chains of sin and set me free. Jesus loosed the chains of sin and set me free. He set me free. I am redeemed.
This has been so much fun. I could keep going on and keep going on, but unfortunately our time has come to an end today. And we thank you for hanging out with us for the past half hour, and we want to invite you to come back for more behind the scenes with Sacred Harmony. Thank you all. Bye-bye.